Islam,
Hassan.
Islam, Islam. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Moorish Sense Channel. I'm your host, Brother Brendan Jornell, Sheikh Jornell. Welcome to the Moorish Sense Channel. Tonight we have a, uh, a treat and also just a great opportunity to learn more about a joyous day, an eventful day, and also a day of remembrance, but also a day of actualization, which is coming up in the weeks to come. And with me this evening, I have the honor of having a co-host who is a Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey. And Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey, you can introduce yourself. I know this isn't your first time on the Moorish Sense channel, but you can introduce yourself and lead us in the Moorish American prayer.
Islam.
Islam.
First, let me introduce myself. Again, my name is Grand Sheikess Sheila Seabreeze-Bey. Been in the movement since 1975, and it has been an adventure, to say the least. So let us pray. Islam,
Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
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 Allah, the Father of the universe,
Allah, the Father of the universe,
the Father of love,
the Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation
and my salvation
by night
by night
and by day
and by day
through his holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
Drew Ali.
Amen.
Amen. Islam. Thank you, Sheikah Seabreeze-Bey. So again, welcome to the Moorish Sense channel. Again, this specific segment is going to be dedicated towards Actual Freedom Day 2024. I've reached out to, well, I asked Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey if she wouldn't mind coming on the channel, on the platform. Of course, Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey and Sheikh Timothy Roscoe Johnson Bey, they have the Moorish Light Blog Talk show on Tuesdays, but I thought this would just be a great opportunity to present to the YouTube audience as well as those on all other platforms, streaming platforms, to present to them Actual Freedom Day. For some, it may be your first time hearing of Actual Freedom Day. To many, it may not be your first time, but I just asked Grand Sheikah Seabreeze-Bey to come on the Moorish Sense channel this evening. So the first question I have for you, Grand Sheikah Seabreeze-Bey, how was Actual Freedom Day established?
Um, Actual Freedom Day was established. Actually, it happened back in the day. Congressman Kwesi Nkrumah used to be a host on the Two-Way Talk show, and I used to call in quite frequently. And matter of fact, I had a show on WEAA called The Light, as well as I called in every day on every show to talk about our Moorish perspective. And the person I called the most was Kwesi Nkrumah, and talking to him and teaching history and law, the idea came up that maybe we should go and make a stand for Actual Freedom Day. And we discussed it in the temple. And at that time, I think we were on Utah Place, 2500 Utah Place, or we could have been on Saratoga Street. Yeah, y'all have to bear with my memory.
Islam.
Um, and so we sat down and we organized and we set up the day and we set up the day. Now, what we did first, by this time, Kwesi Nkrumah had ran for office and became a congressman.
Hmm.
And so we wrote to him and asked him if he would recognize Actual Freedom Day. And so I'm going to share that with you. This was in 1988.
Praise Allah. And I'm pulling it up right now. All right. You can continue, Sheikah
Okay.
Seabreeze-Bey. I'm gonna just pull it up as you continue to.
Okay. So it
Um,
says United States of America Congressional Record, Proceeding and Debates of the 100th Congress, Second Session, Volume 134, Washington, Thursday, September the 22nd, 1988, number 131. House of Representatives. The Emancipation Proclamation. Honorable Kwesi Nkrumah of Maryland and House of Representatives, Thursday, September the 22nd, 1988. Mr. Nkrumah, Mr. Speaker, on September the 22nd, 1862, 126 years ago today, President Abraham Lincoln issued a preliminary emancipation policy statement warning the states that compromised the Confederacy that if they did not return to the Union by January 1st, 1863, the Union would declare all slaves of the Confederacy to be forever free. By January 1st, 1863, the South had not given up its quest to secede from the Union. So President Lincoln issued his historic Emancipation Proclamation, subsequently granted freedom to 4 million slaves of African descent. The Emancipation Proclamation eventually proved to be the turning point in America's Civil War for several reasons. First, European nations were deterred from entering the war on behalf of the Confederacy. Since the war effort now focused on saving the Union and abolishing slavery. Second, the Emancipation Decree seriously undermined the slave labor base, which had long served as the cornerstone of the Confederate nation's agroeconomy. Confederate landowners no longer had the comfort of being able to fight on the front while their so called slaves tended their fields. Last, the Union's armed forces benefited from the newly freed men. An estimated 200,000 former slaves joined the Union Army and Navy and helped head off the North's growing problem of declining enlistments. The Union continually realized the important contributions that the former so called slaves were making. And as the abolitionists had previously predicted, the Confederate States weakened, and with the loss of an estimated 500,000 slaves. Mr. Speaker, the Emancipation Proclamation not only planted the seeds for the international condemnation of slavery, but also served as the blueprint for the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which outlawed slavery once and for all in America. Lincoln duly deserves credit for his early commitment to human rights and for his dedication to a free and just union. Many so-called African Americans and Moorish American citizens across the country will be honoring September the 22nd, 1988 as actual Freedom Day in recognition of President Lincoln's monumental policy proclamation. Mr. Speaker, I believe that this is a fine opportunity for every American to give thanks and praise to the sacrifices that our forefathers made so that we all may live free, vote, decide our own destiny, and uphold the true democratic ideals that America was founded upon.
Islam.
That and I may not agree with everything there, but I agree with some. There's enough there to bring attention to the fact that the initial Emancipation Proclamation served a great purpose for this country. So the other side of this coin is that the terms of that proclamation were never carried out.
That's right.
The only thing that we ever hear is the January 1st, 1863, which is a part of the initial proclamation. The initial proclamation is a proposal.
Hmm.
The January 1st, 1863 does not stand on its own. The December 1st compensated Emancipation Proclamation does not stand on its own, which we're going to show you in a few minutes.
Islam.
Here we are today. We still have a Negro problem. We still are not self sufficient as a people. As a matter of fact, we haven't even moved towards citizenship because we are complacent in civil rights and voting rights and acts and everything but just being mere citizens. Because mere citizens is the equity for all people.
That's right.
So if when we need to get to that point of citizenship, not with special privileges, not with granted privileges, Not saying, not giving us something that every 21 years, or maybe they might make it 50 years, but they have to renew this in order for us to do what regular citizens already do.
Mm.
And it has also caused a problem because, along with civil rights, we open the door for every kind of social issue
That's right.
that people want protection for.
That's right.
And so, because now these people who are also using that which is supposed to guarantee us freedom already have citizenship.
Mm.
So they getting a double dose.
That's
They
right.
double dipping.
Right.
And we ain't even got in the dip yet. We
Those who
we
are
we not even in the bowl. But
right.
they double dipping and they getting
Multiple chips and dip.
yes. And we sitting here still waiting for a chip.
That's right.
Something, we still waiting.
Islam.
And so this is how actual Freedom Day actually came up, because when I was younger, I was much more active in the community,
Mm.
see, like you are currently.
Islam.
So a lot of people that I could call on, a lot of my peers have passed away.
Mm.
A lot of the people that I worked with and called on are no longer here. So that's why I have to rely on the younger people to help me get to the people that I don't know, because I'm
Right.
not active in the community like that.
Right.
So this is an opportunity to, one, help the community understand what our purpose is, and two, to help the government understand that we do want more than what you're giving us.
Mm. That's
We
right.
want equity. We need and want equity.
In the true sense, in its truest sense.
Yes, in
That's
its
right.
truest sense. Not no half stepping.
Right.
Don't shift no crumbs off the table. No more of that.
Mhm.
We're gonna we want, matter of fact, we want our own table,
That's
and
right.
we'll make our own crumbs. And that's where we need to be.
Islam. So I had another question for you, and I know that you're gonna blow it out. So what is the purpose of actual Freedom Day? I think you kind of hit on that point, but I
Mhm.
also know that you made reference to the proclamations as well. So we know that we know the origin of actual Freedom Day, but what's the purpose? Why is it important for our people and for citizens in general?
It's important because actual Freedom Day is to help bring all citizens back to the awareness of the Constitution. We are not functioning currently under the Constitution. So actual Freedom Day is to bring us back into the constitutional fold and make our people here in these United States become constitutionally aware,
Hmm.
because we are dealing with we don't even think about citizenship. We just moving along without any questions or concerns. So actual Freedom Day is, one, to remind us of our history and what our forefathers fought and gave their lives for. Two is to put us back on a proper platform to get back to the union as it should be. And that's under the free national constitution of the Republic of the United States. And one of the things when you study Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he always says free national constitution.
That's right.
He never says the Constitution,
That's right.
because the free national constitution is a result of the initial Emancipation Proclamation, along with the 13th Amendment with its 20 sections.
Hmm.
And we also have to remember, when Lee surrendered, he surrendered to the terms in the proclamation. He surrendered to the 13th Amendment with 20 sections. But Reconstruction reconstructed everything,
Hmm.
and the Southerner, and we became another kind of tool. We became an intellectual tool to
That's right.
punish the Southerner.
That's right. So when you say intellectual tool, can you just give the viewers and the listeners an example if they're not familiar with that? I'm familiar with it. I know because you've taught it several times, but can you just expound on that?
Um, Intellectual tool. Um, And back in the day, before a lot of schools were established, a lot of schools were established during Reconstruction.
That's right.
Those schools were ministerial schools,
That's right.
and so they used Christianity as a tool to kind of hone us in. Along with creating these schools, they also ended up creating different societies
That's right.
with those schools, and exclusive people were included in these societies. It's also similar to when Frederick Douglass and the so-called colored delegation went to Johnson, and they said all we wanted was the right to vote. And Johnson said to them, "But you have a national guarantee that cannot be revoked.
Mm.
Let me be your Moses. Let me lead you to your promised land. Let me take you from slavery to freedom." And they said, "Oh no, all we want is the right to vote."
Islam. That's right.
And that's why we where we are today. Our present educational system is based upon the fallacies of Reconstruction
Mm.
and not on any constitutional law or historical foundation.
That's right. And they don't teach it even in the school system
No.
at all. Everything is social. Well, we know we both,
I
we're
know
retired.
since we left, I know they're
Right.
not.
But it's all social now, right? It's all social. That's all it is right now.
Yeah.
So
And they're getting our children involved in these societies
right.
soon as they hit college.
Yeah, because it's
So
a
they
oh, go ahead. I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, it's like an embryonic state. So what they do is, and I'm not speaking right, I'm just telling the truth. They bring it because I've been to those universities as well as et cetera. They get your mind warped on specific, when we say orders, but organizations, and through those organizations, they promote them with like social uplifting,
Hmm.
social trinkets, and things of that nature. And eventually they matriculate through to other orders as well when they come on out.
Right.
And it's tied into, as you may mention before, it's tied into Christianity. It's based off the premise of Christianity, and that's just the truth.
And in history and law class today, we looked at a video, and it's called the Boule.
Right. That's right. The boule.
And the Boule helps to keep this system of mental slavery, helps to perpetuate and protect the system of mental slavery
The
because it's from
gatekeepers.
hand to hand.
Right.
So if
Gatekeepers.
you're not in that, if you're not in that particular circle, then you can get overlooked or
That's
pushed
right.
to the side.
You know what that's comparable of Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey? The Wizard of Oz or the Wiz. The guys
Hmm.
who were outside the fortress and they were, singing whatever that little chant was, but you couldn't get to Oz. They wouldn't let them into the great Oz when I think about that. Just,
Yeah,
just a thought. Just a
a
thought.
lot of those little shows tell us a lot.
I know I learned that from you in regards to the movies.
Yeah.
Movies and making sure, but
Hmm.
continue, please.
So we when we stop and we evaluate and I mean truly evaluate, because a lot, it's just like us in the term black. Black is an emotional term for us.
That's right.
It doesn't have any historical significance. It doesn't have a definition that makes you proud to be called black. But because we are functioning in mental slavery and they can tell us anything and we go for it, we have become what you can call the overseers of mental slavery. The
Mm,
European can go home and sit down and rest now
right.
because we got it
Mm,
and
wow.
we push it. You don't have to do nothing. So we end up, the fight ends up being amongst us, and we're trying to tell them that there's a better way and a different way. And they're like, "Well, I got mine, you got yours to get." I know you heard that line many a time.
Mentality. Yeah, I've heard that several times before.
Hmm.
Wow.
So that's where that comes from. So I hope I didn't get too far from the question, did I?
No, man, not at all. So you made mention of the union earlier, right? You made
Hmm.
mention of the union. Now, I've heard before, me, prior to coming into the temple, and even like I stated earlier during Sunday school, and you just mentioned it, a lot of pushback when it comes to our people, and even some Moorish Americans.
Hmm.
When we teach or speak this specific gospel as it pertains to the Moorish Science Temple of America, as it pertains to the editorial, we get a lot of pushback from Moorish Americans, and they say, "Well, hey, that's not what the prophet brought," or when the prophet makes right, or when you deal with President Abraham Lincoln, and he's making mention of preserving the Union. They don't see the need or the understanding of what the Union truly is. Can you just expound on that as well?
Okay. The Union is 35 Moors and 20 Anglo-Saxons. If you
Islam.
want to find that out, you can go to the dissenting opinion of Chief Justice Curtis.
That's right.
Chief Justice Curtis said we were free, we were voting, and we helped to establish this nation in several states. And so when we talk about our perception of ourselves is we see ourselves only as slaves. We don't see ourselves as free men and women.
That's right.
And part of that is because we put black on everything.
Hmm.
We put every time we go to rewrite history, we want to make everything and everybody black.
Or a slave.
Exactly.
Or a slave.
Yeah. So here we are, not understanding that we set the European free.
That's right.
He did not set us free. We set him free. We set him free from King George. We taught him how to establish a democracy according to Hebrew law. And if you do enough research, you'll find that out for yourself.
Islam.
If you do the research, a lot of moles like to talk, but they haven't researched or read anything. They got a lot of opinions.
That's right.
And so, you have to do the research. I was forced to do research because I didn't have Google to hit a button and here it popped and it popped up.
Right.
When I came up in Moorish Science, we had to go to the library, we had to buy books, we had to read, because a lot of things you see on Google is something somebody else wrote.
And they change every day.
Yeah, and then
Right.
they redefine it.
Right. Like the demonstration you made mention of with what's the Mo name? What's the Mo name? You know what I'm talking about. The Mo from Jamaica who wrote history. What's his name?
Um, yeah, okay.
Can't think of the Mo's name, but you know what I'm talking about. It had Obama on the front of it. We have the original one.
Oh, the 100 Amazing Facts.
That's what it is.
You're talking about Jay Rogers. Well,
Robert
Jay
J. Rogers.
Rogers was a Bay.
That's right.
He was
Robert
in
J.
the
Rogers.
movement with my teacher.
Islam.
Because what brother is going to have? And he went out the country to do his research.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do his research here in these United States. He went out the country and did his research.
Islam.
And he had to use Negro, Black, and color because of the era he was in.
That's right.
That's why he used it. But when you look in the book, that if it's still in there, they keep modifying and changing things.
Right.
When you look in the book, you'll see where he does refer to Moors and Moorish.
That's right.
He does do that for you.
That's right.
But if the only thing in your mind is blackness, you're not going to see it.
That's right.
You got to let some light in so you can see something.
Islam.
We are people who are roaming around mentally in the darkness, and we only reflect the light from the European.
Wow. So I know that you wanted to get into the Great Conspiracy, and I also know you wanted to get a little bit more into actual Freedom Day 2024. So at this point in time, I'm going to hold off on my last question, and because I know I've been asking questions, and I don't want you to lose your train of thought. So you go for it, Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey.
Okay, so let's go to the statement Lincoln made to us. Let's go to those two statements. Let's compare Prophet Noble Drew Ali and President Lincoln.
All right, praise the Lord. So which one you want to start with first?
Let's start with Lincoln.
Okay. Give me 1 second. All right, pulling it up now. All right, President Lincoln. All right, here we go.
Now, this is Lincoln in Richmond, and he's talking to us. He says, "Don't kneel to me. That is not right. You must kneel to God only and thank him for the liberty you will hereafter enjoy. I am but God's humble instrument, but you may rest assured that as long as I live, no one shall put a shackle on your limbs, and you shall have all the rights which God has given to every other free citizen of this republic." Now, does that sound like a man that hates us?
Not at all.
This man is talking to us about citizenship and being a part of the republic. That's what he put into law that has to happen to us. And then I have a question at the bottom. And the question is, how did we get to civil rights and reparations? Because none of that is in the policies of President Lincoln.
Islam. So can you just all right? So you kind of tied me into my question, right? Because I was thinking about that, right? So
Mm-hmm.
why emancipated compensation as opposed to reparations? Because it's a big not debate, but I know that you probably know because you're aware of what went down in California maybe about a week and a half ago. Um,
I don't.
all right, so I'm gonna just bring you up to speed. So the so-called Congressional Black Caucus of California, they were given the task of presenting this reparations. It wasn't even a bill; it was more like a recommendation
Mm-hmm.
to Governor Gavin Newsom. And as a result of it, prior to even reaching the governor of California's desk, the so-called Congressional Black Caucus they struck it down. It was a reparations it was more like a case study to see if it
Mm-hmm.
was even worth even I guess bringing to the forefront. But as we know, reparations is not our people are not they shouldn't be out for reparations. As you kind of alluded to, is compensated emancipation. And I wanted to know if you can just share why compensated emancipation as opposed to reparations.
Compensated emancipation is already law. We
That's
don't have to. We don't have to go get permission.
right.
We just have to pursue its implementation.
That's right.
So we already guarantee. We already have things guaranteed to us as a people that we have not addressed because they've, as I said earlier, they reconstructed or redirected us in another direction.
Islam.
So when we look at reparation is between nations.
Right.
It is not between a person held as a slave and a government. That's not where reparations belong. Because what we suffered in chattel slavery, by no means is there enough reparations to take care of that. Now, when we talk about compensated emancipation, we're talking about restoring birthrights.
Mm,
We're talking about restoring names. We're talking about restoring language. We're talking about restoring land.
that's
We're
right.
talking about restoring everything that the great God gave us that you have stripped us of. And just as Prophet Noble Drew Ali went to the vault and got the flag, trust and believe everything else is in that same vault.
Wow. Right. And that's a great point that you just raised. And it makes me think about the editorial, The Warning by Prophet. And I also know you want to pull this quote up. So you want to pull it up now?
Yes.
All right. Praise the Lord. Here we go. All right. Here's the quote. Oh, wait a minute. That's not the quote. That's the that's the quote.
It says, I know all a true American citizens are identified by national descent names to answer and apply to the free national constitution of the free national republic of the United States of America. What do those two statements have in common?
Mm,
Republic.
right.
Lincoln talked about being citizens under the republic, and the prophet is talking about being citizens under the free national republic of the United States of America. And what we have to understand, there was no free national republic of the United States until 1865,
Mm,
when slavery was finally put to rest.
Islam.
So that's how we have to really connect the history to what the prophet is teaching us, because somewhere else in there he's making a plea and a divine warning that he needs all citizens to help him bring us back into the constitutional fold,
That's right.
because we are way outside of the constitutional fold. It's just like we in our emotion, we done tore down statues, stripped down the Confederate flag, but
Right.
the Confederate flag was only flying because the so-called slaveholder never got compensated.
Obviously, for his
If
pride.
he, yeah, if he didn't get compensated, we didn't get compensated.
That's right.
So compensating him compensates us.
Islam.
So when you talk about who suffered during Reconstruction, it was our people and the Southerner. He had an outlet because he did the KKK thing in retaliation.
Hmm.
We didn't have an outlet.
Not at all.
Nobody came to our aid.
Not at all. The federal troops were pulled away. They were taken away from the South.
Right. Soon as Grant left office, his agreement was to take the federal troops from down south.
That's
But how
right.
long could the troops be there anyway?
Exactly.
That's military control. That's not freedom.
At all.
And we need to be very clear about those of us who like to talk history. We need to be very clear about what we're saying. And don't go by so much by what you're trained to think. Don't go by what you heard. Pick up a book. Do
Islam.
some research.
That's right.
That's always been one of my missions. Well, matter of fact, I should say assignment is to teach. That's my assignment. My assignment is to teach. So I teach all day and all night, and as long as I can get a lesson. And most people say I'm arguing, but actually, I'm truly not.
Right. I know.
I'm just trying to present to you another perspective so you can start thinking instead of reacting.
That's right. And that's what Moorish science is about.
Right.
That's right. All right.
And
Did you want to go into the website?
yes, let's do that.
Okay. So what you want to start with first?
We're going to go to the website. Let's go to the Great Conspiracy and let's talk about the proclamation,
All right.
since
Praise the
that's
Lord.
what actual Freedom Day is about.
All right. So
And
going to the Great
we're going to
Conspiracy.
start from, it's going to be page 530
Okay.
at the bottom, the 900. It's a 900 page. So I think we're going to page 530.
5:30.
Hope I figured that out right.
Gotcha. All right. Let's see.
So we're going to move from the back to the front. And those audience out there, y'all should have some questions.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. We have at least 12. I see 12 people looking. So if you have questions, now's the time to ask your questions, even if you're just viewing. Come on, ask your questions. Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey, she's teaching tonight. So come on in the chat and ask your questions. Pose your questions. We can see it in real time. We can see it on the Restream Live. Islam. All right. So I have it up. Is this the page you're looking for?
I can't see.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Let me see. Oh, let me zoom in.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here we go. Up. Can you see it now?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So it says 580 for me, 58. My apologies.
That's 458. Okay, I need you to scroll down till you see December 15th.
Okay. There it is. On December 15th.
Yeah, there you go, right there.
All right.
Now, we'll pull down to the 11th because they need to get the whole story. Let me not get them.
So go up or go down?
Down.
Okay.
Oh, up. I'm sorry, up.
That's okay.
Yeah.
All as well.
All right. See right there. Stop. Go
Right
back.
here.
Resolve. See right there. Oh,
Got
yeah, you got it. You're right. Go up a little more.
Right here.
Going up till you see December 11th. There. Right there.
There.
Popular branch.
Got you.
It says the popular branch of Congress responded with haughtiness to what Mr. Lincoln had done. On December 11th, 1862, resolutions were offered by Mr. Yeaman in the House of Representatives as follows. Resolve the House of Representatives, the Senate concurring that the proclamation of President Lincoln of the United States of the date of the 22nd of September 1862 is not warranted by the Constitution. Resolved that the policy of emancipation indicated in that proclamation is not calculated to hasten the restoration of peace and was not chosen as a war measure and is an assumption of power dangerous to the rights of citizens and to the perpetuity of a free people. These resolutions were laid on the table by 95 yeas to 47 nays. The yeas all Republicans, save 3. The nays all Democrats, save 5. Then we come back on December 15th. It might be, I might can make mine large.
Let me see. Oh, you got it?
That was me.
Okay.
I just the page. So on December 15th, 1862, Mr. S.C. Fessington of Maine offered resolutions to the House in these words: Resolved that the proclamation of the President of the United States of the date 22nd September 1862 is warranted by the Constitution. Resolved that the policy of emancipation, remember that, see that policy of emancipation as indicated in that proclamation, is well adapted to hasten the restoration of peace, was well chosen as a war measure, and it is an exercise of power with proper regard for the rights of the states and the perpetuity of a free government. These resolutions were adopted by 78 yeas to 52 nays. Yeas all Republicans save two, nays all Democrats save seven. The proclamation of the 22nd, 1862 was very generally endorsed and upheld by the people at large. And in accordance with its promise, and you listen to this carefully, in accordance with its promise, it was followed at the appointed time, January 1st, 1863, by the supplemental proclamation specifically emancipating the slaves in the rebellious parts of the United States in the following terms. Here, stop right there.
Okay.
Look
Islam.
at the introduction. Whereas on the 22nd day of September, in the year of our Lord 1862, a proclamation was issued by the President of the United States containing, among other things, the following to wit: that on the first day of January, the year of our Lord 1863, all persons held as slaves within any state or designated part of a state, the people whereof shall then be in rebellion against the United States and shall be thenceforth and forever free. And the executive government of the United States, including the military and naval authority thereof, will recognize and maintain the freedom of such persons and will do no act or acts to repress such persons or any of them in any efforts they may make for their actual freedom. So we see two levels of freedom here.
Right.
We see freedom, and then we say that we have to pursue actual freedom.
Islam.
Now, this is the last part of the September the 22nd proclamation. So let's roll back, and I don't know how far. I can tell you when to stop.
Okay. You want me to go past where we began?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. So we were up here.
Yeah, so we got to go back some more.
Okay.
We're going back to the beginning of the compensated proclamation.
Islam.
So we can understand this is all one document. This is the September the 22nd is a proposal with different components in it.
All right. Let me know when.
Okay.
Yeah, this one's different. I have the hard copy. It's the
Yeah, this
same
is
record, but it's just the
yeah,
page numbers are throwing me off.
yeah. The numbers are actually the same.
Okay.
It's just that on see at the bottom here they're
It says a
different.
different
But
number. You're right. The
yeah,
page
but
numbers, yeah, the page numbers on here are the same as on the
mm-hmm.
book.
So you can see Lincoln took the census. Look at this. The
Yeah.
census from 18 all the way up to 1930.
Islam. That's right. I'm still going.
Yeah, we're gonna end up going to the beginning.
Okay. You want me to go to the very beginning or
No, just
no?
to the beginning of this proclamation.
Okay.
Go back a minute because I want them to see one other thing. Go down to the last article.
This one? Wait a minute.
Uh,
Oh,
go down. There should be another one. Let me see. Wait a minute. Go back. I can't. Um, go up. Are these the articles?
I think yes. I think so. It's first
Okay.
article. That's the first article, the main.
Okay. Yeah. So you can go down and you'll see in there 37 years. He
Okay.
wasn't talking about immediate emancipation,
Let's see.
but there's something that I need us to see. And you're going to see it, the last article. Or is he I think he's elaborating on the articles here. Go here down. Go back. I mean,
So go
go
back
up.
up.
Uh
Go
huh.
back. Okay. Here's one of the articles.
Yeah, there it is, right there. That one.
You want to
Listen.
start from the top, or you want me to start right
No,
here?
I just want to go to that bottom one.
Okay.
Congress may appropriate money. Stop right there. Stop. And otherwise provide for colonizing so-called free colored persons with their own consent at any place or places within the United States.
Islam.
Because a lot of us think we're supposed to be shipped off somewhere,
Right.
but the policy says within the United States, and we need to be very clear about what it says.
Islam.
Now you can go ahead and back up, whichever way you was going. Yeah,
I was going up.
okay. And I'm just trying to highlight some. Here's Egypt of the
Ooh,
West. See
West.
that?
Yeah. Right
Because
there.
this, he says, there's two, and each of them must have access to this Egypt of the West without paying toll at the crossing of national boundaries. People don't understand the depth of President Lincoln,
That's right.
just like they don't understand the depth of Prophet Noble
That's right.
Jawara.
All
And of
right.
course, this is a week-long lesson. You can keep going.
All right. All right.
All right, we almost there. We almost there. Stop.
Yeah, right here. Yep.
Mhm. Go up. Go up to the next paragraph. Right there. Stop.
Right here.
Go back.
Go back
Some
down.
2 months. Where it says some 2 months. Right there. Right there.
Islam.
So it says some 2 months after the issue of his great proclamation of liberty, President Lincoln, in his second annual message to Congress, December 1st, 1862, took occasion again to refer to compensated emancipation, and indeed to the entire matter of slavery and freedom, in a most instructive and convincing manner as follows. On the 22nd day of September last, a proclamation was issued by the executive, a copy of which is herewith submitted in accordance with the purpose in the second paragraph of that paper. I now respectfully recall your attention to what may be called compensated emancipation.
Islam.
So you can see in both of these, the supplemental and it starts from September 22nd. And then he tells you what a nation. The nation is said to consist of its territory, its people, and its laws. That's what a nation is.
That's right.
The simplest way. Now we can keep on going.
Go up.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because if there's another mistake that a lot of us make, you can keep going till you get to. I'll let you know when to stop.
All right.
Okay, slow down, stop. Let me see.
Executive will.
No, keep going.
All right.
It's just, I think it might start off on the next meeting of Congress. There it is, right there. That the purpose.
This one.
No, go down another one. Next paragraph.
Oh, that the purpose. Okay. Do you want to start where it says I, Abraham Lincoln?
We can.
All right.
That's
Praise
the
God.
first paragraph. I, Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States of America, and Commander in Chief of the Army and Navy thereof, do hereby proclaim and declare that hereafter, as heretofore, the war will be prosecuted for the object of practically restoring the constitutional relation between the United States and each of the states and the people thereof, and which states that relation is or may be suspended or disturbed. So now we have a purpose for the war. We didn't have a purpose before September the 22nd.
Islam.
And so here is where, right here, stop. That it is my purpose upon the next meeting of Congress to again recommend the adoption of a practical measure tendering pecuniary aid to the free acceptance or rejection of what?
All slave states.
How many?
All.
No, the ones in the South, right?
Not all of them.
All of them.
Right.
But a lot of us, because they keep throwing January the 1st at us, we only think that he addressed the slave states in rebellion.
All right, you got a question or a statement, and we actually kind of covered this earlier, but Brother Simeon Bay, thank you for asking that question. So the brother said, I don't believe that Lincoln's object was to, and I think he meant to say free the slaves, but rather to preserve the Union. He said, he put quotes in there. He said, and I've seen this before. He said, my paramount object in this struggle is to save the Union, and it is not either to save or destroy slavery. If I could save the Union without freeing any slave. But Mo, you got to put that whole quote in there because it's more in there that you're missing from there. So can you add the rest of the quote in there as well, Brother Simeon Bay?
It's actually in the book.
Yeah, it's in the Resurrection book too, and in the Great
Yeah,
Conspiracy.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I'll ask this question, but let me finish this here.
Thank you for sharing that statement. But yes, man, go ahead.
So this says all the slave rejection to free acceptance or rejections of all slave states, so called, the people whereof may not then be in rebellion against the United States, and which states may then have voluntarily adopted or thereafter may voluntarily adopt immediate or gradual abolishment of slavery within their respective limits. So the abolishment of slavery was a state thing. It
Right.
was supposed, no two states had to do it exactly the same. But when the Reconstruction came in, the federal government took over, which was
All
not its job. It was
right.
not the job of the federal government to go down south, punish the southerner, or the border states to deal with this issue of slavery. So the border states was just like court. They wasn't their hands were actually tied.
Right.
They had no voice.
At all.
And the southerner had no voice.
Or representation at that time.
Right. So so you sitting here dealing with a vindictive, revengeful people who, as in one of the books says, that they stomped in the muck and then wiped their feet on the Constitution.
We're talking about the radical Republicans.
Yes.
That's right.
It
So
says, go ahead.
can I all right, so just to clear that quote up, because the brother said it won't let him, right? So the quote is this. This is the full quote. It's and President Lincoln said, "If I could save the Union without freeing any slave, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. And if I could save it by freeing freeing some and leaving others alone, I would do that. I will also do that." Well, you got to know and understand the three branches of government. The president is the commander in chief. And one word that we know and we kind of hit on earlier is the word diplomacy. So if you're following along with what the Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey is demonstrating right now, and if you listen carefully to what she said a few minutes ago, she said that uh, the adoption of this gradual, help me out,
Compensated.
conversation. Thank you. It would be up to the states, and the states will adopt it according to, I guess you could say, the environment or the condition that they find themselves in at that
Right.
time. So it's not a matter of President Lincoln, and I understand because I've heard many people say this. I asked a question earlier. It's not a matter of the object of the person, but more so he's demonstrating a diplomatic point of view because at the end of the day, he's trying to bring the Union back into the Constitution. He's trying to bring the Confederate back in, but he's also trying to make sure that they can get compensated for their property at that time, and then also that we be compensated as well.
And you also have to remember, he still had border states. He had 5 border states that he's trying to keep in the Union
Mhm.
and not join the Confederacy. So you think about this. He got the Confederacy, the border states, and he got these people like because remember, this is a letter in a newspaper. This is a correspondence that's written for the public. No way could he in the public lay out his plan of action.
That's right.
He's responding to Mr. Horace Greeley, who was the media man of the hour. And
Right.
he wrote President Lincoln a letter,
They were going back and forth.
yeah, trying to tell him what he needs to do.
Right.
This is what you need to do. You need to free the slaves, and yada da yada da.
It's the modern
And
day media. It's back in the day media.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. And so
Right.
Lincoln is saying to him, "Well, man, matter of fact, let's go to the letter. Let's not even we didn't even want to stress ourselves.
Okay.
Let's go to the letter.
All right. Is that on the website?
It's in this book. Keep
What
scrolling with
page
it.
is that on?
I don't know.
I can't think offhand. I think it's further up though.
Yeah, it's for yeah, it
Further up.
is. I'm
All right.
going to look on my phone while you're doing that. I might can help you out.
All right. Is it? Nah, this isn't that. Let's see. I got my record, but my record, President Lincoln. But yeah,
I
it's
can,
Brother Simeon Bay. That's a good observation. It said this can't load this page. Hold on. But I
just
hope
keep
we
it. They
get
have
to
just keep going. If it'll let you go past that, you're good.
okay. Let's see. All right. So I was able to go past it.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
So it's let me see.
For the state opposition.
Uh, it's
That's
let me
page 200.
let me go to my other book. I got the Great Conspiracy of a couple of books on my phone.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look.
So again, if anyone has any questions, any comments, please by all means present your questions, present your comments in the chat.
And I'm
And
going to see what chapter it is. It might be easy if you look for it by chapter. But it's in the. I think it's in the chapter just before. Hold, stop. Let's see that. Let's see them. Let them see
this
where
one.
that money was. See, did you
All right.
probably pay some money?
All right.
These are the border states. This is Kentucky, Maryland, Virginia, Delaware, Missouri, and Tennessee. This is the value of their slaves. This is the money they would be paid. And if you go down, you
I'm
add
gonna go.
colonization on some scroll. Yeah,
There
right
it is, right there.
it is $478,038,133.
That's
That's the value of the slave property of just those 5 states.
alone.
Hmm.
Those 5 alone. Not coupling the other ones.
No, that's not including the rest of them.
That's right.
And so
All
you
right.
also have to understand that, you know what? Let's do this
I'm
really.
still trying to pull it up.
I used to, no, really.
It's McKellen.
It's in
It's Lawrence.
chapter.
Horace Greeley.
Okay. It's in chapter 17.
What page is it?
16. Chapter 16. Now I'm looking on my phone
Okay.
because it's easier for me to find it. So
All right.
you're at 17. So you only
17. So it's one chapter up.
hmm
It's actually this chapter right here we're getting into.
right.
All right.
Because they don't put so much propaganda out there, and we have mastered the propaganda.
Right. That's
We
true.
haven't mastered the history.
That's
We
true.
have mastered the propaganda they put out there for us, but we have not mastered the history itself because that's not what they teach us.
It's hard work. It's hard work to delve. It's hard work to, unearth that history. It's
Yeah.
easier to look at a screen or look at a movie or, have someone tell you something and then it'd be full of half truths or lies. So, like you said earlier, pick up a book.
Yeah. I recommend The Great Conspiracy. That's a lot of reading right there.
Yes, it is. It really
That's a
is.
lot of reading.
Yes, it is. All right, this page is it blank? No, it's not
Hmm.
blank. It's
Just,
blank.
yeah.
All right. Oh, okay. Abraham Lincoln. I think, is this? No.
No. Mm-mm.
No.
It is. What year was that? 1860. 1860, I think.
Okay. 62. So we're getting there.
And this is what you have to go through. You talk about research. You see how we running through this book?
That's right.
And when
61.
you know your lessons, this is what you do. You run through things to get to your point.
And then you got 1860 coming up.
Let's see.
It should be coming right up. All right. All right. We at the top. All right. Let's go down.
Let's see. Is it in here? Just look in here and see if you see
I'm
it.
looking. Yep. Command is
You
guided
see
by
it?
political bias. Cameras, a lot of emancipating patriotism. I don't see it in there.
Okay. We'll go back.
We
Go
go
up.
down. Go
Yeah.
up. Okay.
Mm-hmm. There's 16. Go back. That was 16, right?
Yes. Compensated gradual emancipation.
Mm-hmm. Might be the one previous to that because it should.
Should be right on. Like,
Yeah, it might
is it?
be in this one.
All
Go
right.
ahead.
That's what William Seward.
Because it's when he first came into office that he wrote him this.
Right. I remember.
See, Moses takes. This is what studying means: taking time and patience. Because we be done got what I think it was 1860. It should be coming up
It should
soon.
be right here. Right. Because this is a series of letters. This chapter right here is a series of letters. Sherman. All right, this one is blank. It's Fremont.
Let me go to.
All right. You're being served by President Lincoln.
Okay.
61. We're still in 61.
Let's see, John A. Logan.
All right. Is this it?
So, because this is the beginning of the war, so you got a lot of stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. August 1861, August 31st, 1861.
So, I think that his letter was in 61. Let's see.
We'll go up.
So, it must be in chapter 15, not
15.
16.
Mm-hmm.
Freedom's early dawn.
All right. Somebody asked a question, and I guess you can hit on this question. She can see real. I'm looking for the page. Uh,
Okay.
the listener Midnight said, "What is the difference, or what's the difference between uh, I'm gonna say the Moorish Science Temple of America and the Nation of Islam in terms of beliefs?
Beliefs?
In,
Okay.
in terms of beliefs, yes,
So,
ma'am.
I'm going to do it this way. We deal with Islamism as a birthright. They deal we deal with Islam as a birthright, as a Moorish, as part of the Moorish American nation. Our birthright religion is Islamism, just like our nationality is Moorish American. Our birthright religion is Islamism. Um, they deal with Islam as a total for everything. They also deal with it under blackness, which
That's
is a
right.
total contradiction of the Holy Quran itself.
Islam.
So the difference between us, we are not just dealing in a religion. We're in a divine and national movement moving towards actual nationhood, and they are dealing under the mental slave term black and practicing Islam. That's all they're doing. They're practicing a religion, and we're on a mission. That's
Asiatic Muslims. They're
Yeah.
Asiatic black men.
So according to the Holy Quran of Mecca, you cannot be black and deal in Islam,
That's right.
because blacks calling yourself black in Islam, according to the Holy Quran, means a denial of the faith
That's right.
and the disgrace of Allah.
You
But
see,
similar,
you see, you got Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey.
mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I'm in
I
15 now.
think I think it might be 14. Give me a chance to catch up with you.
Okay.
What chapter am I in? You know what? I can find a chapter, but I'm gonna have to take another route.
Okay.
Really, and it's August the 22nd because I'm looking at it. Let me see if I can see what chapter it is. It
You
says it's in chapter 18. We done left the chapter and rolled by.
said it was an 18?
Yes,
Oh my goodness. We
we
gotta
done
go down
rolled,
there.
we
Yeah, we
done
already in
rolled by.
14, 15. I'm gonna go down. I'm gonna go down to 500 at least. All right. Let's see.
um,
Chapter 18.
mm-hmm.
All right. So if you still have questions, continue to ask your
Okay.
questions. Continue to ask your questions. Right. So Brother Simeon Bay said black is not a nation, nor is a nation of Islam an actual nationality. That's absolutely right. You
Yeah,
know. Oh, here it is.
exist.
Horse greed.
Woo.
Is this it?
Yes, that's
All
it.
right. Praise Allah. See how everything works.
Hmm.
All right. What do you want me to
So
begin?
we're definitely, our job is to restore and redeem that which we lost. Um,
I mean, it's up to you, but do you want to? I know you've taught it several times in the temple. You taught it when I first united in the temple in regards to my brother Elijah Muhammad, also known as Elijah
oh
Poole.
yes, Elijah Poole was in the temple. Him and my teacher were best friends. They were in the temple together.
Mhm.
Him, Fawad Muhammad were all in the temple together. Fawad Muhammad was East Indian.
Islam.
Um, and they were under Prophet Noble Drew Ali,
That's right.
and then they branched off. Now they kind of did it according to law because he says turn in your card and button, but they didn't cease wearing the fez.
Right.
See, the law says turn in your card and button, cease wearing your turban and
Determined
fez.
phase and
If you
return
look
to the
at the
state.
early and return to the state where the prophet found you.
That's right.
So when you look at those earlier pictures of the nations, they all wearing feathers.
Some of them had bays attached to their names too.
Hmm.
Mhm.
So so it's it was more palatable. That's the best I could put it. It was easier to digest saying black than
Mm.
it was saying Moorish.
Islam.
And part of the problem was a lot of the Moors didn't understand what the prophet was saying.
That's right.
So they went out and did their own thing. When you stop, you look at Father Divine, Daddy Grace, all those big ministers back in the day, all came out of the Moorish Science Temple
That's right.
and prospered.
Yeah. Your mass fortunes, but led the people astray. All in all,
Hmm.
led them astray.
They made big money, but they didn't help the people.
That's right. That's right.
So that's the only difference, and that's the difference between us. They call the King Alfred
King
because
Alfred was.
they do use the label black.
That's right. They're Asiatic. We're Asiatic Muslims and they're Asiatic black men. It's a difference. Big
Hmm.
difference.
And we can definitely go to Surah 3 Ayat 106 if you need to see that.
That's right.
Where's the letter?
All right. So we're on Horace Greeley now. Do you want to go to Lincoln or Horace Greeley first?
So yeah, let's read his letter
All
first.
right. So we start with let them.
No, it starts at the top
Okay.
because it's the letter 20 million.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay.
No, I think you
I
passed
think I
it.
went past it. It's where on the face.
Yeah.
All right.
On the face of this wide earth, Mr. President, there's not one disinterested, determined, intelligent champion of the Union cause who does not feel that all attempts to put down the rebellion and at the same time upholds its inciting cause are preposterous and futile. That the rebellion, if crushed out tomorrow, would be renewed within a year if slavery were left in full vigor. That army officers who remain to this day devoted to slavery can at best be but halfway loyal to the Union, and that every hour of deference to slavery is an hour added and deep in peril to the Union. I appeal to the testimony of your ambassadors in Europe. It is freely at your service, not mine. Ask them to tell you candidly whether the seeming subserviency of your policy to the slavery upholding interest is not perplexity, the despair of statesmen of all parties, and be admonished by the general answer. I close as I began with the statement that what an immense majority of the loyal millions of your countrymen require you is a frank, declared, unqualified, ungrudging execution of the laws of the land, more especially of the Confiscation Act. The act gives freedom to the slaves of rebels coming within our lines and whose lines may at any time enclose. We ask you to render in due obedience by publicly requiring all subordinates to recognize and obey it. The rebels are everywhere using the late anti Negro riots in the North as they have long used your officers' treatment of Negroes in the South to convince the slaves that they have nothing to hope for from a Union success. That we mean in the case to sell them into bitter bondage to defray the cost of the war. Let them impress this as truth on the great mass of the ignorant and credulous bondsmen, and the union will be restored. Never. We cannot conquer 10 millions of people united in solid phalanx against us, powerfully aided by Northern sympathizers and European allies. We must have scouts, guides, spies, cooks, teamsters, diggers, and choppers from the blacks of the South. Whether we allow them to fight for us or not, we shall be baffled and repelled. As one of the million who would gladly have avoided this struggle at any sacrifice, but that principle and honor, but who now feel that the triumph of the Union is indispensable not only to the existence of our country, but to the well being of mankind. I entreat you to render hearty and unequivocal obedience to the law of the land. Yours, Horace Greeley. Now, just the bodaciousness of it all.
Yeah, it was a lot of audacity.
Yeah, who are you to tell the president what he need to be doing?
Right.
And if this is the letter, I think it's called the letter of 20 million.
Mm-hmm.
So then, some tea.
President Lincoln.
So Lincoln responds on the 22nd day of August, 1862. Honorable, this is Sheik Johnson Bay's thing. He loved this. They love breaking this down. Honorable Horace Greeley. Dear sir, I have read yours of the 19th instant, addressed to myself through the New York Tribune. If there be in it any statements or assumptions of facts which I may know to be erroneous, I do not now and here controvert them. I'm not going back and forth with you.
Right.
If there be any inferences which I may believe to be falsely drawn, I do not now and here argue against them. I'm not going back and forth with you.
Mm.
If there be perceptible in it an impatient and dictatorial tone, I waive it in deference to an old friend whose heart I have always supposed to be right.
Mm.
So we cool.
Right. In France, right.
We ain't gonna do none of that. We ain't doing that.
Exactly.
As to the policy I seem to be pursuing, as you say, I have not meant to leave one in doubt. I would save the Union. I would save it in the shortest way under the Constitution.
That's right.
I'm gonna do it the legal way. I can't do it off of your feelings.
That's right. No emotions.
The sooner the national authority can be restored, the nearer the union will be the union as it was.
Was.
If there be those who would not save the union unless they could at the same time save slavery, I do not agree with them.
Can you read that part again?
If there be those who would not save the union unless they could at the same time save slavery, I do not agree with them.
All right. So that goes back to the question the brother asked.
Mhm.
All right. You can continue.
If there be those who would not save the union unless they could at the same time destroy slavery, I do not agree with them.
That's right. He's not
So
taking
he
us. He's
hasn't
not.
agreed to anything.
That's right. Go ahead.
My paramount object is to save the union, not to either save or destroy slavery. Still, no, he's not giving you anything. If
Right.
I could save the union without freeing any slaves, I would do it. If I could save it by freeing all the slaves, I would do it. If I could save it by freeing some and leaving others alone, I would also do that. There's no commitment here.
He's the president. He's the commander in chief.
Right. So he's not making, he said, what I do about slavery and the so called colored race, I do because I believe it helps to save the Union. What I forbear because I do not believe it would help to save the Union.
Mm.
I shall do less whenever I shall believe what I am doing hurts the cause. And I shall do more whenever I believe doing more will help the cause. I shall try to correct errors when shown to be errors. And I shall adopt new views as so fast as they shall appear to be true views. I have here stated my purpose according to the view of my official duty. I intend no modification of my oft expressed personal wish that all men everywhere could be free.
There it is. That's
So
right.
you'll never get to the bottom of the ladder.
They never read the entire letter.
They
And
take pieces out of it.
it- oh,
You know, it's like baking a cake. I'm gonna make a cake, but I'm not gonna put no eggs in it.
that's right.
I'm gonna make a cake. I ain't gonna put no sugar in it.
That's right.
I'm gonna make a cake. I ain't gonna put no vanilla
Frosting on it.
extract in
I
it.
ain't put no extract on it.
So here we are. We done jumped to a conclusion
That's right.
before we get all the facts.
That's right.
Let's read that line one more time.
Go
I
ahead.
have stated my purpose according to my view of official duty. I intend no modification of my oft express. Now listen to what he said. I intend no modification.
Let's go back. Okay. Go ahead.
I intend no modification of my oft expressed personal wish
Personal. Right.
that all men everywhere could be free.
Hmm.
What's that? Who signed it? Who said that?
All right. So let's go and see who signed it.
Yours, A.
A.
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
So I hope, Brother Simeon Bey, that you can see how they try to present this.
That's right.
But when you read the whole thing, you get a whole different perspective.
Mm-mm-mm.
There's no commitment by the president one way or the other.
He has to be impartial. He has to be impartial.
Exactly.
He has to
And
be
plus,
impartial.
this is a public forum.
That's
I'm
right.
fighting the war. I'm gonna put all my business in the newspaper.
That's right. So they can drag him through the mud. They
Right.
already mad at him.
Or plan or go against whatever his strategy might
Right.
be.
To undermine him, right. Which they were already trying to do.
Yes, because
That's right.
remember, when Lincoln came into office, the government was bankrupt. They had moved all the arsenal south.
Right.
Everything is all a whole. It was just a mess. He had to straighten out all that mess
Mm-hmm.
and prepare to fight at the same time.
That's right.
And look how long it took him to find a general that could fight, that would fight.
To fight the war, they wouldn't stand up. Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
So everybody look at the Civil War like that was something easy to do. I
Not
think
at all.
not.
Not at all.
I think not. And so that's can I do something? Because I want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
He was supposed to be behind me. I know his spirit was good. Let me see. Can I see him?
The prophet.
Yeah.
Got to move over a little bit. There
Hey.
you go. There
Okay.
you go.
I
Yeah.
just to make sure he was standing up behind the flags.
Wow.
Do I have my flags right?
Yes.
Okay. Because I flipped them around because I knew they would be backwards if I did them the other way. So so when we talk about President Lincoln, we're talking about the facts.
Hmm.
We're not talking about anybody's opinion because somebody wrote to me that Lincoln was a slaveholder,
That's new information to me.
that he was a slaveholder. He didn't care nothing about freeing the slaves.
That was new.
You don't have no facts to back that up.
Maybe one of these new age articles. So the
Yeah,
brother said this is the same problems we're dealing with the current presidents these days and times. So, brother Simeon Bay, what are some of those problems? I'm just curious to hear what the problems. Are you talking about impartiality? Because if that's the matter, I mean that's checks and balances. That's part of the government. So the government, you can't put your personal feelings and emotions in a situation like that. And then also looking at the context in which Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey is laying out before us in regards to the Great Conspiracy. The president of the United States, he was the commander in chief, and he had when he came into office, there were individuals who were upset with him because of his stances and because also of the political affiliation that he was in. So he already had individuals who were looking to undermine him. He had to take an impartial view or approach in order to preserve the union as it was. And we teach in the temple that the union is much older than what people perceive. So, you may hear the union, you might automatically think of the United States of America or things of that nature. But I don't know how long you've been tuning into the program tonight. But Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey, she made mention of our ancestors, our forefathers, our forefathers being the ones who established the union and also the ones who actually got the European off of got King George off the Europeans.
exactly.
Right.
And and I'm gonna see. I want to send you another link because and all this pertains to actual freedom. Actually, we haven't. I don't want people to think that we've gotten too far away from the topic,
No, we're still on the topic. This is in the topic.
but I want people to understand that so many people stuck their hand out to us, and we kind of like slapped it away.
Right.
And these will be the things that we will be talking about on actual Freedom Day.
Islam.
So I'm getting ready to send you another link.
All right.
And I know I can't send y'all everything, because I got a lot. Y'all don't understand. It's a lot.
All right. I'll pull it up as soon as I get it.
Okay.
Go to my Gmail account.
We're going to be presenting to on actual Freedom Day. We're going to be presenting
Okay.
the cause of the problem, why the prophet came, and the solution. So we're going to be doing the when, where, what, and how on actual Freedom Day. So there's going to be a lot of speaking.
That's
But
right.
Gary, you're going to have to learn something.
You
You
will
know,
be put on the spot.
yeah,
You
people
heard?
going to come up to you and they're going to say, well, what's this about? What you going to tell them?
I bear witness.
I had a brother tell me today, well, civics not going to do nothing. And I
Come on.
don't know how this got to be civics
Wow.
because civics is a totally kind of different. Civics is
Avenue.
citizenship duties.
Right.
This is constitutional law and history that we're taught that the prophet talks. He doesn't talk. He did say he set up a civic organization, and that's when he was trying to get the most to vote and do some certain things. But he moved away from that, and we have to. The most have a hard time keeping up with the prophet. That's what I know. They have a hard time. And so you think if he and I need you to go to transcript.
Okay. Transcription.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Good.
Yeah. Now, this is
I'm gonna zoom in.
mhm.
You can go ahead. I apologize.
This is Frederick Douglass and the colored delegation from up north coming to represent the people and talking about what the people want. So listen to where they from. The colored peoples states of Illinois, Wisconsin, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New England, and the District of Columbia. Now, do any of these people actually? Oh, look at that! You see that?
I maximized it.
But I'm just saying, do you see where you at?
No.
Okay, so here it says we are in the passage of equality before the law. God made it by opening the Red Sea. We would have your assistance through the same. This is that our brothers talking.
Right
We
here.
come to you in the name of the colored people of the United States. We are delegated to come by some who have unjustly worn manacles on their bodies, but some whose minds have been manacled by class legislation in states called free.
Hmm.
The colored people of the states of Illinois, Wisconsin, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, New York, New England states, and the District of Columbia has specially dedicated us to come.
Delegate.
Mm, delegate
Delegate. Hmm.
delegated us to come.
Islam.
And so now let's see. Because this is Lindsay too.
Right.
So I want to just get to where it says, let's see. Your predecessor gave us, set us free. We want the right to vote. And so let's see. I think Mr. Douglas says this.
But it says Mr. Following upon Mr. Downing, Mr.
Yeah.
Frederick Douglass. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Keep going down. And I'm just going to go back up. I'm going to highlight some points.
Should be okay.
Do you
Right here.
see?
It's right here. Your noble and humane predecessor.
Yes. Your noble, humane predecessor placed in our hands the sword to assist us in saving the nation. And we do hope that you, his able successor, will favorably regard the placing in our hands the ballot with which to save ourselves.
Who was his successor at that time? Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey.
President Andrew Johnson.
Praise Allah. Thank you.
Now, why are you up here talking to this man about voting? Because I know the people in Mississippi, Alabama, North Carolina, South Carolina was not thinking about voting.
That's right.
And Johnson made the point. You can't say this about all people because their situation is very different than yours where you come from. So let's scroll down a little bit
Okay.
where he tells them, I'll be your Moses. You need a Moses?
President's response right here.
Mm-hmm. Look, wait a minute, wait a minute.
Looking this up
He said, this kind of theoretical,
right here.
hollow, is that it?
Yes.
This kind of theoretical, hollow, unpractical friendship amounts to very little. Why I say I am a friend of the colored man, so-called colored man, I do not want to adopt a policy that I believe will end the contest between the races, which if persisted in will result in the extermination of one or the other.
Hmm.
God forbid that I should be engaged in such a work.
Mr. Parr, you're looking for right here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Stop right there. Now, it is always best to talk about things and a practical, I keep thinking you see my finger, and things practically in a common sense way. Yes, I have said and I repeat here that if the so-called colored man in the United States could find no other Moses or any Moses that would be more able and efficient than myself, I would be his Moses to lead him from bondage to freedom, that I would pass him from a land where he lived in slavery to a land. And see, they done snuck this little piece in here because you know that
Right.
one.
They put it in parentheses if it
Yeah,
was in our reach, but it doesn't say that in the original transcription.
no.
It doesn't say that at all.
And the land of freedom. Yes, I will be willing to pass with him through the Red Sea to the land of promise, to the land of liberty. But I am not willing under either circumstances to adopt a policy which I believe will only result in the sacrifice of his life and the shedding of his blood. And that's exactly what happened.
Islam to this day.
That's exactly what happened. And we want to go down a little further
All right.
uh, and look for national guarantee. The president, right there.
Right. Okay.
The president, I am not quite through yet. Slavery has been abolished. A great national guarantee has been given, one that cannot be revoked. What more did they need to hear?
Mm.
You know what they said? Go to the end. Let's hear what they say at the end.
This part right here. We'll keep going.
Keep going.
All right. Because that part right there is telling too.
Oh, I didn't see it. I
When
can't.
he was talking about the poor, so-called Europeans.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
because that became another problem.
Right.
So we forget that everybody in the South did not hold
That's
slaves.
right.
That was
That's
a
right.
very elite group that
Right.
held slaves. The
Aristocracy.
average European was working like us,
And poor.
and slavery kept them from prospering, which is one of the reasons why Lincoln left where he was lived, Kentucky.
Right. It was right. Come on now.
That's why his father and his family left
He got up
Kentucky.
and he left. That's right.
Hmm.
You ready?
Hmm.
All right. Keep going.
Yeah.
Let me know when.
Okay. Where did Mr.
Elect a
Here?
franchise? No.
He says that was said before the war. Keep going.
Okay.
Where you going? You going the other
That
way?
it's right here. That was said before the war.
I know. I
I'm
was just
talking about.
reading.
Oh, okay. I'm going down. So,
Go
so
down. Yeah, that's right. Okay. So I this is Douglas. I have to return to you our thanks, Mr. President, for so kindly granting us this interview. We did not come here expecting to argue this question with your excellency, but simply to state what were our views and wishes in the premises. If we were disposed to argue the question, you would grant us permission, of course. We would endeavor to controvert some of the positions you have assumed. Look, he gonna correct the president. You see, this is what I'm talking about us. Mr. Douglas, I take it that the president, by his kind expressions, he is very full. He is very full treatment of the subject and must have contemplated some reply to the views which he has advanced and which we certainly do not concur. We don't agree with him.
that's
And
right.
I say this with due respect. And
President
the
then down
president will
Douglas.
allow me, I would like to say one or two words. You enfranchise your enemies and disenfranchise your friends. All I have done, Mr. President, I have simply to indicate my views are as I suppose you expected me from your address. So go down a little further because this takes time, Mose. You don't.
Right.
All right.
There it is.
The president.
Mm-hmm.
I think you will find, as far as the South is concerned, that if you will include their idea in connection with one you urge, that the colored people, so-called colored people, can live and advance in civilization to better advantage elsewhere than crowded down there in the South, it would be better for them. Mr. Douglas, but the masters have the making of the laws, and we cannot get away from the plantation. What
Mm-hmm.
prevents you? We have not a single right of locomotion through the southern states now. Why not? The government furnishes you with every facility. Mr. Douglas, there are 6 days in the year that the Negro is free in the South now. His master then decides for him where he shall go, where he shall work, how much he shall work. In fact, he is divested of all political power. He is absolutely in the hands of those men. the president, if the master now controls him or his actions, would he not control him in his vote?
Mm. That's what's happening today. And then the part that stands out to me, right? The way Lincoln is, I mean, not Lincoln, Douglas, my apologies, is speaking. You would think that this is during the time of slavery, but this is actually after.
Exactly.
So this is doing with Reconstruction, radical Reconstruction,
Exactly.
Islam.
So I think that's enough of that, because just trying to get you to see people fight for us, but we fight the people who are fighting for us.
That's right.
And
Based
that's
off of,
that's a problem. That's the problem up to this very hour.
to this day,
And you and I a lot of us ignore the fact that the prophet set up a divine and national movement.
Islam.
We try to act like that doesn't exist. And then, but he set up a divine and national movement because he has to teach you morals, and then he has to teach you citizenship.
That's right.
He wants you to be more upright and independent and fearless
That's
as
right.
citizens.
That's right.
He doesn't want you to be docile. Prophet does not like passivity. He tells you more is active and not passive.
Massive.
So he's not looking for us to be passive and sitting back, placid, placid, passing the plate and praying and singing. He wants us to take some action.
That's right.
And that's one of the things, Actual Freedom Day is just a way for us to show who we are, to show ourselves in numbers. But it doesn't matter if it's a few of us, Allah with us, so we still got it. Don't get it twisted.
That's
We
right.
ain't gonna be mad because you stay home and don't want to come. You ain't gonna be mad at you.
Missing out on your blessing.
Yeah, you
I'm
won't be.
serious. Like, I mean, I've been able to. Okay, so the brother said, so no, brother Simeon Bay, the Christian black codes was not enforced after the slaves were emancipated. The Christian black codes predate that. And when you're dealing with that concept of the Christian black codes, that was during the time when before the 13 colonies, before the 13 colonies became states. The Christian black codes also, I think you're making reference to the so-called black codes, but the so-called black codes were actually an act of radical reconstruction as well. And then you had Jim Crow, which followed. So it's kind of like
And
um,
peonage.
peonage, yeah, peonage slavery, vagrancy laws, all those different things, But so no, the Christian black codes, it predates that. It predates it.
And even when you look at the 13th Amendment with two sections, the way that it's written, they still could pick you up and lock you up.
That's the Northwest Ordinance.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Article 6 of the Northwest Ordinance. And in actuality, it was a preventative and never intended to be a solution.
That's right. From not allowing slavery to expand, correct?
Right.
Right.
And then when you follow up with all of the compromises that follow behind trying to make the slave interest happy, and
Hmm.
they could never compromise enough. You had to admit that it was a wrong and did not need to exist. And when you failed to admit that, you went to war
The war.
to prove that it should not exist.
Exactly.
And
That's
we have to fight this intellectual war.
right. You want to speak on that?
Yeah,
Because I know
because
you want to go. Go ahead. Yeah.
this intellectual war we fighting, it's like when I say to people they not, I had a 5-day conversation of telling people they wasn't black.
Mhm.
And they had a 5-day opinionated comment for 5 days trying to tell me they were.
Wow.
And they thought, I'm relentless on some things.
I
I'm
know.
just relentless, and I
Right.
don't let up, because our people need to understand you're going to run out of fuel because you don't have any. You only got fumes in the first place.
That's right.
Blackness only carries fumes. It's powerless. You don't have a seat nowhere.
At all.
Somebody tried to tell me we had a seat in the United Nations.
Nah, not at all.
I said no, they represent. And then when I looked it up, it was somebody that represented something for the United States. But here's what I'm going to tell you. A lot of us talk about we need to go to the United Nations, but you know who has the final say in the United Nations?
Mm,
The United States.
that's right.
That's why Palestine doesn't have a seat in the United Nations, because everybody, they had a majority vote to put them in the seat, to give them a seat in the United Nations, and the United States vetoed it.
As they had, and they've been doing that concurrently and throughout the years.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right.
So you want to go there. So y'all think you going to the United Nations, you getting away from the United States. You are sadly mistaken.
Can I speak to a point? So the brother made reference to the so-called black codes in 1865. So I think that I think yes, that's what we're talking. So the black codes did exist during that time. We're dealing with when you're dealing with Reconstruction, but you made mention earlier of the Christian black codes. That's 1724. That's way before any of this. Yeah, so we're talking about 1720. That's not. It's no correlation between those two. There's no well, it's a correlation. I'm not gonna say it's not a correlation, but it's not. We're not in there. We're not dealing with that timeline right now. So praise the Lord. You continue, Grand Sheikess.
Yeah, so that's why we're having Actual Freedom Day. All this history that you just heard is why we're having Actual Freedom Day.
Mm-hmm.
Because we are not the only ones who want to enforce the Constitution. We are not the only ones. But we have to go out there and talk to people and let them know that we are part of those who want to enforce the Constitution. Enforcing the Constitution saves the nation. Because right now we want a social platform. Period. It's all
Right.
about sexuality.
Nobody should know. Somebody should have. No. It shouldn't come down. That's not citizenship. Citizenship
Right.
has nothing to do
That's a
with what you
personal
believe.
preference.
Right.
Sir.
In your
I don't
Bible.
have nothing to do with that. That ain't
Nothing
my
at all.
business.
Nothing at all.
And it does not require a specific right or
That's
an
right.
act.
Right.
Because you was that before you came up with the act, whatever act y'all came up with and all this gender stuff. Y'all just define the creators as far. I'm gonna put it as simple as I can. You're defining the creator and you're gonna redefine man.
Right. And try to put man above the creator. Can't do
You
that
know, you can't, you ain't in that kind of power.
at all. So yeah. So do you have anything else you wanted to share, Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey?
Well, they can listen to the Moorish Light.
Go ahead. That's right. Go ahead. So
You
share
can
it.
listen to the Moorish Light on Tuesdays from 6:30 to 7:30. It is a call-in show. That number is 718-766-4929. And on Sundays, we have history and law class that you can join in. We put the link on Facebook. If you have questions, we enjoy answering questions. Some people think you can't, sometimes you can't go by what's happening on Facebook because that's not my teaching class. That I'm teaching, but in a different format. Um, But when we're in class, I'm gonna take time with you. I'll take the time. I'll wrestle with a person.
That's right.
Some people don't have that kind of patience, but I got the patience to wrestle with you. Wrestle with you like Jacob wrestled with that angel.
That
Yes,
angel. That's right.
and change your title, give you a title Bay or Eel at the end of it too.
That's right.
So it's all in love, though. Understand that it's all in love. It's
Islam.
not. There's no hatred or malice in it at all. It's all in love.
You want to
Love.
give us the date, the actual Freedom Day, date and time?
Yeah. Did I send you a flyer?
I don't have fly. I got it on my phone, but I don't have it. Let me see.
Let me see if I can find it. I can send it to you.
Okay.
Give me 1 second.
No problem. Again, thank everybody for tuning in. Thank you for being patient with us and listening. We really appreciate the comments and the feedback. That's right. Brother Porter Ill, documentation beats conversation all day. That's absolutely right. You know, YouTube is a good platform. It's a vehicle that we use, and we use the same thing with Blog Talk Radio. But to get the full experience, you want to come out to the temple. You want to visit the temple. You want to join the temple. You want to proclaim your nationality and learn, because there's a lot of misinformation.
A
Um, a
lot
lot
of
of misinformation. I'm not going to sit here and say that I know it all, but I've learned a lot from Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey in the last past decade of being in the temple. So I'm really appreciative of her just always being willing to share. You know,
Anytime I can teach some more science, I'm in heaven. Let me tell y'all something.
that's right.
I'm gonna tell y'all.
And the brother said he can verify that you are a warrior online. Yeah, I can too. Look, man, warrior online, warrior in the temple, the whole nine. Nothing to believe. I've gotten sliced up a few times. So it's all in love, like she stated though. It's all in love.
I sent it to you.
All right, I got it right now. And I did have it on my phone. I'm tripping. Hold on, give me 1 second. I'm gonna send it to my I had it
So
on my phone.
we do have a new email. Oh shoot. We do have a new email. The email is actualfreedom2024@gmail.com.
Okay, so I'm gonna put that in the
So
chat too.
I did do another flyer, but
Gmail.com. All right. So that's the email right there. And I'm pulling it up right now so everyone can see the flyer. Give me 1 second.
and I had my little person Randy Tunes who does my little artwork for me.
Hmm.
Throw him a little shout out
Yeah, give him a shout out. This
because
is good. This flyer is good.
he does all my little artwork, the little cards. You see me with the faces and the poems,
Mm-hmm.
all that for me.
All right, I'm pulling it up right now. All right, here we go. Here's the flyer for Actual Freedom Day. All right, there we go. You zoom in.
And I'm going to say we're going to be at the Lincoln Memorial until I hear any. If I hear something different, I will notify everybody. But
Islam.
at this point, I'm going with the Lincoln Memorial because I don't have time to people to.
And the address is Lincoln Memorial 2, Lincoln Memorial Circle, Northwest Washington, D.C.
Mm-hmm.
12 to 4 p.m. Come out a little earlier. We'll be there September 28th. That's a Saturday, 2024.
Always the last Saturday in September. And after we finish actual Freedom Day, we go to the vegan restaurant. We sit down and what do you call it? I want to say
What is it? New Vegan.
yeah, not the restaurant, but when we sit down and break bread. That's the best thing I can
Break
think
bread. Right.
of.
That's right.
Um, and so you know what, and I so appreciate this because anytime I can get outside, I wanted to do a show simply Moorish, right?
I know.
Somebody done picked it up already.
We'll get it. We'll get your show up and running on here.
Hmm.
You gotta sit down.
So Mose, it's nothing like loving who you are, and when you hold the prophet up, you don't ain't nothing shining on you but light.
That's right.
Ain't nothing shining on you. And that's the light of Allah. It shines through the prophet, not through you. Because, see, some of us think we got it.
The great I am, so to speak.
Yeah, yeah. But the light shines on you through the prophet. So,
Islam.
please, please get a prophet his due. That's something everybody know that. Get a prophet his due.
That's right.
Stop trying to change the truth and modify it. Just give it to the people like the prophet gave it to you.
Islam.
Put the men down, put the idols down, or whatever it is that you're dealing with.
That's right.
Empty your hands and pick up the prophet. And let's get this job done.
Islam.
Let's save the world. The world needs saving, y'all.
That's right.
The world needs saving. Y'all don't
Islam.
want me to sing. Look, I'm about ready to sing.
Yeah.
So, one of the things Jesus, and I'm going to read this quote from Jesus.
Go ahead.
One of my favorites. See if I can find it. Give me a minute. Gotta change my books here. And I gotta get to this chapter. 70. Give me 1 second.
No problem.
And this has been my inspiration since I've been in the temple. And one of the things that I tell people, you have to be careful because this European will twist the truth up on you in a hot second. You
Islam.
be thinking you doing you be thinking you doing one thing and you doing something else.
Mm.
And it says, once again the Prince of Peace has come from these blessed hills, and he goes to fight. He is clothed in white. His sword is truth. His shield is faith. His helmet is innocence. His breath is love. His watchword peace. But this is not a cardinal war.
Mm.
It is not man at war with man, but it is right against the wrong. And love is captain, love is warrior, love is armor, love is all, and love shall win.
Islam. Islam. Praise Allah. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Islam. Islam, everyone. So again, we like to thank you, not welcome you because we just went through, but we can go through again if we needed to. We'd like to thank you for tuning into the Moorish Sense Channel. Again, you want to come on out to Actual Freedom Day. You want to come on out to Actual Freedom Day. That's going to be September 28th, 2024. That's from 12 to 4 p.m. We're going to be at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. Hosted by Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey, Islam Moors,
And the more
in the
sense.
Moorish Science Temple of America. The Moorish Science Temple of America. Can't forget that. Um, Go ahead, Grand Sheikess.
I also just want to invite people to come out to Sunday school, 12 to 2.
Right.
Um, and Holy Night, 8 to 10. We're at
Right.
1055 North Milton Avenue,
That's right.
as well as 2900 West
Preston
Preston
Street.
Street.
That's right.
So, we got places for you.
That's right.
You don't have to be lost in Baltimore.
At all.
Just give a call. We got you.
That's right. Islam. So with that being said, we're going to close out the Moorish Sense channel, this segment on Actual Freedom Day. Grand Sheikess Seabreeze-Bey, would you mind closing us out in prayer? Leading us
Not
in
at
prayer.
all.
Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
Islam,
Islam.
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 Allah, the Father of the universe,
Allah, the Father of the universe.
the Father of love,
Father of love,
truth,
truth,
peace,
peace,
freedom,
freedom,
and justice.
and justice.
Allah is my protector,
Allah is my protector,
my guide,
my guide,
and my salvation
and my salvation,
by night
by night
and by day,
and by day,
through his holy prophet,
through his holy prophet,
Drew Ali.
True Ali.
Amen.
Amen. Islam. Islam, everyone.